Our show broke the news this week that in the dark red Trump country of Iowa, teachers are being instructed to label Republicans as racists in their own classrooms. It's grotesque, it's wrong, it's evil, and it's illegal. You can see the leaked slide here from a whistleblower right on your screen. Before we talk about the implications of this and how the state of Iowa is responding, it's important to ask, how the hell did we get here? A problem conservatives have always had has been showing the real-world consequences of leftism. Even though communism has left a stack of bodies that would reach the moon last century, all we really have to do is say, hey, look at that. The establishment in our movement still finds themselves incapable of effectively explaining why socialism is evil. Our movement instead spent the better part of the last 20 years on corporate tax breaks, illegal immigrant amnesty, not building a border wall, imploding the housing market, and forever war. Great job, compassionate conservatives. The cultural gate was left wide open for socialism and communism to march directly into our institutions unmolested. Unless, of course, it marched past Bill Clinton, then it would have been molested and Hillary would have had it killed. Communism didn't kill itself. But it did kill 100 million people in the last century, and often not through war. See, foreign war adventurism is the speciality and luxury of the compassionate conservatives. Not communists. Communism is a disease designed to kill people at home, not abroad. Going abroad to kill is expensive. Just take a peek at the U.S. national debt. The communists kill their fellow countrymen. It's cheaper and easier. The largest mass murderer in modern history, Mao Zedong, killed over 60 million of his own Chinese subjects. 60 million is roughly the population of America at the turn of the century in 1900. Wiped off the map, gone. Mao said of these killings, "We have so many people, we can afford to lose a few." Sounds like a great guy. Lenin and Stalin targeted their fellow Russians. 20 million of them now lay in shallow graves, slaughtered by the paranoid cancer of communism. Lenin said of the killings, "We need to set an example. You need to hang, and hang without fail, at least 100 notorious rich people. Publish their names, take away their grain, execute the hostages. This needs to be accomplished in such a way that people for hundreds of miles around will see and tremble and know and scream. Let's choke and strangle those bloodsuckers." Exact quote from Lenin. Lenin, he's a hero of the left. You can see him on t-shirts. Great. Sounds like a great guy. This is how the communist thinks. Identify the enemy, those standing in the way of you having power. Target them, torment them, kill them if you must. Critical theory is a communist theory from the turn of the century that did just this. It targeted capitalists and declared that all institutions in a society shot through by capitalism must be destroyed. Does that sound eerily familiar? This is exactly the theory that Lenin, Stalin, and Mao used to butcher their own people. Critical race theory is the American version of critical theory, using race instead of capitalism to achieve power. The end goals are always the same. Thanks to our flaccid conservative cultural leaders of the last 2 decades, we are now in an insurgency war against Marxist critical race theory in every cultural institution in America. So how is that going? This week, this show broke the story that Iowa teachers are being forced to classify Make America Great Again as a type of racism and white supremacy. The slide that lists Make America Great Again as white supremacists also lists as racist Columbus Day, American immigration law, policing, denying white privilege, and believing that people are part of a human family. That's right, it's against Christianity as well. This is done through mandatory critical race theory training forced on teachers at taxpayer expense. Are you paying attention yet? Iowa is Trump country. Trump carried 94 out of 99 Iowa counties in the 2020 election. The Republican governor endorsed Trump. The Iowa Senate and House are solid Republican. This means teachers in Iowa are being instructed to classify the vast majority of their students as racist and white supremacists. Hang them high so people can see and scream and be in terror, right? Lenin would be proud. This is a rock-solid, real-world example of critical race theory being used as a political weapon to target Republicans, to target you, your children. This is not education, it's naked political vengeance. This training is critical race theory in practice. It's happening in red states, it's happening in your state. We reached out to the Republicans who run Iowa for comment on this. Here's what we got in part. The governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, says this indoctrination is not education. Kids need to be taught how to think and not what to think. A statement from the Iowa House Speaker, Pat Grassley, says, "We cannot fight racism with more racism." These state leaders took steps to ban critical race theory from being taught in Iowa, effective next month, in July. Good. It's time Republicans see this for what it is, a communist invasion on our own shores. Unfortunately for our country, the people we pay an enormous amount of money to fight our wars don't seem to see this one. Here's the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff making a mockery of his position and declaring that Marxist critical race theory in the military is a good thing. Watch.
First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read.
Just humiliating, really. I mean, wow, how did we get tied up in Afghanistan for 20 years? It makes you wonder, really. Conservatives, we got some house cleaning to do. My solution would be to move all government agencies out of D.C. This move alone would save America, but that's a totally different monologue. Luckily, we don't need this humiliated puppet of a general to fight this war. Whether it be Lexington and Concord or the Alamo, regular Americans are happy to step up and fight. Critical race theory has brought together the most diverse, passionate group of cultural freedom fighters in my lifetime. It's inspiring. Take a look at some of these clips and be inspired.
When you talk about critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, you're going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed?
MLK said, "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." That dream has come true. I do not care or look at the color of skin, but you make me think of it.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now I have a dream that we will implement love, not hate, or supporting another Jim Crow's agenda.
Amazing. Amazing. There is a simple reason why the cancer of Marxism has not been able to take root here, to kill us. It's because we fight back. Keep fighting, America. We are winning.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.